Well, hello and welcome again to Edison Light Globes video. I'm Phil Greenwood, and today I thought we'd continue our series, our range, that is the light globe shape and what you do with them, what they're for. And today I thought we'd tackle that classic Edison shape style globe, which is the ST64 pear shape, or I'm sure there's some other names. Now this is our incandescent, so it's a 25 watt carbon filament replica. It's got to do with the original Edison globes, what they looked like originally. I think originally they were a bamboo filament, and then they went to obviously carbon filament, tungsten filament, a whole lot of things. But this is tungsten filament, but a replica carbon, being very dull. And it's basically just a squirrel cage design with wires around a central pillar. Everybody who knows Edison globes knows this shape and this globe. This is the standard, little shaky filament in there, the standard Edison filament globe. And that's an ST64. We do have also an ST57, is it? I think it's 57, which is essentially just a shorter globe, a little pip on the end, a shorter filament. Same thing, a cage, wire cage around a central pillar in glass. I'll show you that one quickly. It's exactly the same look in 25 watts, but obviously just for a different reason, a little bit shorter, for a fitting that requires a shorter globe. And I'll take that out. Now, the reason we have these available and not banned is because we are limited to a maximum wattage for inefficient lighting. Now these are inefficient as heck, and we're limited in Australia to just 25 watts, so they don't use a lot of power, they don't use a lot of energy, but they're not very bright. So we can't do 40 and 60 watt versions of these in Australia. It's illegal. And I think the fine at the moment is, or was set at $100,000, so no mean sort of fine. But in North America, the limit is 40 watts, so we tend to make a 40 watt version of these. In New Zealand, you can do whatever you like because they don't have any regulations in relation to inefficient lighting. We just can't import them here. So that's our problem. Now, to overcome some of that, when these globes were made regulated and inefficient, there was an attempt to create globes using LED. Now this is the very first type of LED globe that we saw, and this is basically just diodes that would be used for other purposes, just stuck on bits of wire and assembled inside the globe. Now you can see it there, they're just assembled in like a little crown shape. I can't remember the name of this arrangement, but it had a sort of a name, and they're very strong. Oops. They're sort of wire based, so they're fairly strong. Now this is a B22, this is the only one we've got left of this style. It's a pretty ugly colour, it's not a real high CRI, so it's a weird magenta sort of colour. It dims really badly because there's no real optimisation in the driver for this. So we only have a few of these left. I thought I'd show you because it was interesting in terms of what we had done in the past. The next globe that we did, that was an advance on that, or at least maybe not an advance, but a swerve from the little bits of diodes stuck to a bit of steel, and that was these chip type globes. Now these are again LED diodes, chips or whatever, very short ones, but in a circuit board, so stuck to a printed circuit board. And I used to think these were really cool, not so much anymore, but these again, sort of flickery, dimmable, not very good. A bad CRI, probably around 60-70% CRI, so an odd green colour, these ones, because they lack some of the wavelengths in white light. So whilst they were okay for 12 months, 2 years, someone, I think in Taiwan, or I don't know where they were, managed to put LEDs inside a thin strip and then make the LED itself more like a filament. So these are what some people call fake filaments, where in fact they are filaments because they have a light-emitting diode in a strip. And you can see that there. This is what was the standard first type, which was an odd shape but designed to give enough light, a reasonable quality. This is a fairly bright LED. They dim a little bit better, but not terrific. They don't dim to off because they're not a new modern chip type globe. But you'll still see these for sale, this type of shaped filament, which is basically just trying to create a light out of an LED technology, which was interesting, and we had quite a few of these done, and now we don't do them anymore. And the reason being, because what we were wanting to do was to create a globe that used the LED strip, but to mimic the first globe with the wire cage. So what we asked the guys to do was to make a vertical squirrel cage design in the LED strip. And you'll see that one there. Basically, it's just a straight barrel affair so that the LED strips are intentionally trying to mimic the Edison traditional incandescent globe. Oh, you'll see. That's fairly bright. I'll turn it down. Now this one is modern chip, enhanced dimming, dims to off, no flickering, very smooth, can go very bright, 6 watts, and I think this one is 2700K. So this one is a fairly high output LED. Now that's all well and good. What we then needed to do was to create a warm version of this. So we had obviously the ability to make a warmer chip LED, a warmer colour LED, and the warmest we can make is 2200 degrees Kelvin or 2200K. Now, given that traditional or the replica carbon filament is about 1800K, these aren't going to be as warm, but they are the warmest that we can actually make an LED chip or strip bulb. Oh, you can see that. Is that exactly the same or a bit warmer? I think it's a bit warmer, but my eyes have adjusted. So I'll turn it down. There you go. That's the idea of this, is to mimic the traditional Edison filament globe. Now, we've had people actually ask about these and assuming they're illegal because they're a bright Edison globe, and we have to tell them, no, they're an LED. It took quite a while for people to realise these were LEDs. So, for that, I suppose we'd made the right choice. They mimic them enough to fool most people. Now we have this, obviously, because it's a really commonly used globe, we do have this in a bayonet cap, and it's not common for us to do a BC 240 volt cap, even though most people in Australia consider BC the standard. We just don't have a lot of need for it, and you can see they're a little bit more ugly in the lamp holder for a bare globe anyway. But we do have a 2200K 6 watt Edison shaped ST64 LED squirrel cage bayonet cap. It is a bit of a weird one though, bayonet cap, BC Edison globe and an Edison globe. It's very confusing. Anyway, so the next, I'm going to push these out of the way, the next evolution of this technology was the flexible LED strip. Now the flexible LED strip has brought up a whole lot of interesting conclusions. One of them is the ability to turn these, did I show you that? To turn these filaments into a shape that is something that's not traditional but perhaps more decorative. Now this is a double loop, which looks a bit boring until it's turned on, and this creates the effect of, again with internal reflection, a decorative globe. I mean, it sort of does actually look a little bit like the original bamboo filament LED globe. So I quite like these. This is dimmable, even though some people for some reason find it difficult to dim. They are dimmable. Now this is the last one, and again I think we finish on this globe every time we discuss light globes, but this is the soft filament arranged in a spiral inside an ST64. There you go. I always think this is the most elegant design aesthetic. I'll turn it up. Oh, this is a busted one. Oh no, it's working. There you go. It does work. But I can see it really close. You can see the little pieces in there. It's not a very bright filament. It's about 3 watts. They tend to struggle with a single soft filament to get high wattage, to get high power LED, and that's why we still make a very big range of the strip type LED. But for decorative, the 3 watts perfect. It's about the right amount of light if you're going to have a globe every 2 or 3 feet in a room, over a bench, over a table. So we got a row of single filament, single globe pendants. These are perfect. So that's the last one we've got. We'll probably still continue to develop LED designs in this shaped globe. But for now, I think that's all we've got. I think we probably think about sick of light globes now. You sick of light globes? She's sick of light globes. But we'll probably, the next video we do will probably be slightly different. So we'll have a bit of a rest of light globes. If you've got any questions about light globes and what they're for, what size, what shape, what's an LED, just shoot us an email or put it in the comments. We'll answer any questions you got. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and giving us a thumbs up. And we'll speak to you again next time we do a video. Thanks.